change things and make them better. And both of those things come into play when you deal with stories about, time travel. It's very interesting. Obviously, when we create media, as part of the illusion in the world that we've created, the illusory world that we've created, well, we have an illusion within an illusion. And it's kind of like, Inception, the movie, where you just go down into different levels of illusion. You wake up from one and find yourself in another. Another way to look at, interestingly enough, if you think of Shakespeare's Hamlet, there's a scene in Hamlet in which the young prince Hamlet, who suspects that, or he's been told by the ghost of his dead father, the former king of Denmark, that the king's brother, Hamlet's uncle, actually murdered him so that he could become king, and then married the queen. And Hamlet spends most of the play trying to figure out how he's going to get revenge for this. And one of the things he does is to arrange for a troupe of actors to come and create a play that shows the, or at least the theorized murder of Hamlet's father, and to make it a play and show it to the current king, his uncle, and the queen, and to get their reaction out of it, because he feels if they have a strong reaction to it, he'll have them. But they watch it and it doesn't seem to bother them at all. They don't even seem to recognize any semblance of or similarity to their lives. And that's much the situation that we are in a lot of times when we watch or read stories. We don't recognize ourselves being reflected in them, perhaps as much as we should. We seem to disconnect from that. It's just very interesting. But alright, so we've talked about falling back and time travel. So now it's time to move into our segment on heroes of consciousness. And our hero this week is a gentleman by the name of Paul Stamets. I call him the Mushroom Man because he is an advocate for and a researcher on the power, the amazing power of mushrooms and their intelligence. Mushrooms are intelligent creatures. They connect with each other. They can spread roots out throughout huge areas of land. They are literally the underpinning of life as we know it. And Paul Stamets is one of these people that awakens us to the truth of this. And of course we were talking about this in context with the idea of consciousness, changes in consciousness and awareness, and in relation to how certain types of chemicals, certain what some people call psychedelics, others call entheogens, can induce changes in mind that allow for mystical experiences or experiences beyond the ordinary self. And of course, mushrooms, certain types of mushrooms, have this chemical psilocybin, and it's been around for as long as mankind has been around. So it's very interesting that mushrooms have this ability to help us evolve in a way. So Mr. Stamets, born in 1955, is a researcher and has done a lot of work in what's known as bioremediation and medicinal fungi. Medicinal fungi or fungi are those funguses which can be induced to produce metabolites using biotechnology. These fungi literally have compounds that can help us fight cancer, bring your cholesterol down, and change your mind, as I mentioned before. Bioremediation is a process used to treat contaminated water and soil and subsurface material by altering environmental conditions to stimulate the growth of microorganisms, fungi like mushrooms, that will help to degrade the pollutants. So one of the things that Mr. Stamets is using mushrooms for, or advocating for, or explaining their use about, is their amazing ability to actually clean up the environment, break down the toxins that may be in the environment. He's involved in 2 National Institutes of Health funded studies on cancer and HIV, and how mushrooms are able to be used as treatments and therapies for this. The properties of mushroom mycelia, which is the vegetative part of a fungus, that acts like a colony, branches out into threads and creates a mass that can be sometimes thousands of miles long. Fungal colonies composed of mycelium are found in the soil and many other places. So Mr. Stamets is a pioneer in that area as well, but also a strong advocate of preserving biodiversity and supporting research on mushrooms for ecological restoration, as I mentioned. And on top of it, he also is very involved in the qualities, the properties of psilocybin itself, and what it can do to change your brain. One of our other heroes of consciousness, that we've been looking at, talks about how mushrooms can change how, not just how you think, but how you feel. Of course, they've been used in ceremonies for thousands of years, but now, because researchers are taking them seriously, they are discovering the benefits that psilocybin mushrooms have. One health benefit is stimulating growth of new brain cells. In a 2013 study, the psilocybin in these mushrooms empowered mice to get over their fear and promoted new neurons growth and regeneration in their brains. And this is startling because the common belief was that you don't grow new brain cells. Once they're gone, they're gone. But apparently memory, learning, and the ability to relearn that a once threatening stimuli is no longer a danger absolutely depends on the ability of the brain to alter its connections. And we believe that neuroplasticity plays a critical role in psilocybin accelerating fear extinction. So psilocybin has an effect on the neuroplasticity, which is the plasticity of your neurons in your brain. Health benefit number 2, it reduces pain due to social rejection. We all go through rejection from time to time, right? It's a natural process when interacting with others. But apparently in a 2016 study in Switzerland, it was found that psilocybin is of great help in reducing the pain resulting from this social rejection. Right? Because if it expands your consciousness, it allows you to not put so much energy or stock into what someone else thinks of you. I would imagine that's probably the reason. Health benefit number 3, it alleviates OCD symptoms. Now that's something I didn't know. OCD, is obsessive compulsive disorder, and many people have this. It's common in patients, some who are suffering from schizophrenia or bipolar disorder or other psychiatric ailments. It's when you are compulsive about having or doing certain things. For some people it is they have to wash their hands over and over and over again, or things have to be put exactly in a certain place, and if they are not in that place, it becomes very anxiety causing for them. And a study in 2006 discovered that psilocybin mushrooms can be very effective in alleviating the symptoms of this disorder and allowing them to break free from the compulsion. Health benefit number 4, soothes anxiety. This was found in a 2011 study of cancer patients. And it apparently soothed their anxiety about their illness. Health benefit number 5, lowers depression. It's been shown that mushrooms are effective at treating depression as well as post-traumatic stress disorder. And number 6, and for many of us the most important, long-term medical and spiritual benefits. And this is what our other hero of consciousness, Dr. Roland Griffiths from Johns Hopkins University, talks about, and that's what he seems to be most interested in. The study that he was involved in, out of 36 test subjects, a third said that their experience was the most significant spiritual experience of their lives. And over 2/3 said it was definitely in their top 5 most significant experiences. What he says is that psilocybin is an amazing tool for unlocking the mysteries of human consciousness. The core feature of the mystical experience is a strong sense of interconnectedness to all things, a rising sense of self-confidence, clarity and communal responsibility, altruism and social justice. Understanding the nature of these effects and their consequences may very well be the key to survival of the human species. Well, of course it is. And it's amazing that there's a natural chemical that helps you to do that if you need to. And the number 7th health benefit here is that it helps to connect the brain in new ways. And I think we talked about that, your neurons and so forth. And we'll probably explore more of this next week when we do more on the mushrooms. But suffice it to say that the work that Mr. Stamets is doing and that Dr. Griffiths is doing is groundbreaking in helping us to understand our own consciousness, our own sense of mystical, mysterious life. Alright, so now I would like to give you a quick voting meditation. I asked previously to this, even if you know who you're going to vote for, and I'm not asking you to change your mind about that, but just to take a moment or two to let everything you think you know go, and just allow yourself to be mindful